Hello, my name is Alexander Hernandez, and this is my cheek number two. Um, okay. Sorry for my dog barking in the background. He wants to be with me, and he won't learn to shut up. But this is my acknowledgement, saying that this is my work, etc., etc. I'm not going to read this. Okay, so there are primary components of the criminal justice system. So we got law enforcement, like sheriff's office, FWC, police officers. We got. I honestly want to include the probation officers and the parole officers in this section as well. I believe they are also in the law enforcement category because they monitor and try to rehabilitate offenders. So I think they're in this section as well. Um, so these people, law enforcement, try to uphold the peace, and they try to make sure no one violates the law. They will deter crime, and they will arrest the people that do violate the law. Next, there is the American court system. The American court system is something that usually consists of the judge, the state attorney, if you can't afford your own defense attorney, a public defender, a defense attorney, you got a jury, and I believe those are all of them. Unless you want to count bailiff and stuff, but that doesn't really count. I believe that's all the stuff for the court. Last thing is corrections. After you get sentenced, you need somewhere to go, and where you go is jail, and you'll deal with corrections officers. All right, so there are many problems with the criminal justice system today. Usually, when someone gets arrested, it's because they're in the influence of something, and just a few days ago, we had a Kansas City police officer get arrested for disorderly intoxication. Why he was arrested? This is public information, so this is okay. Why he was arrested was he jumped in a river, and the people were worried about him since he jumped in the river. Even though it does sound normal, there's alligators here in Florida, so I'm sure that person thought they were doing okay by saying, hey, this person's in the river, etc., etc. And they most likely don't have alligators in the rivers in Kansas. Next thing you know, guy gets arrested for disorderly intoxication because, yeah. So that's public info, so anyone can look it up, so I didn't say anything I shouldn't have. A juvenile getting arrested, that's another thing. It's better to, in my opinion, I don't think arresting juveniles is the right thing to do. I think arresting a juvenile just leads them down a spiral of bad turns. Once you arrest a juvenile, a lot of times they're just like, my life's over, nothing I can do, I'm a delinquent, might as well just keep on doing bad things, screw it. Well, that's the mindset that I think they get, and most of the time it is. A lot of them come in for the same stuff over and over again, and they just don't care anymore. So what I would do if I ever got into contact with a juvenile was, are they living in a good living environment? If they are, then, hey man, don't do that again. Here's a citation. If this person, juvenile, needs help mentally, like if they physically need help, but they're unstable mentally, then yes, I would arrest them because then I can get them the help they need. But if they don't need any help, they just acted out in anger or lust or whatever, then, give them a citation. There's no need to arrest them and give them a rap sheet. And the last thing is a three-strike system. That's when every time you go to court, if you go to jail or prison, you do some time, and then when you get arrested again for another felony thing for like a prison, you get points. And due to your crime or from your crime, you will get a certain amount of points. You also get more points if you've been in jail before. If you're a convicted felon, you'll get more points. You'll get more points. You'll get more points. So pretty much, if you committed, unless it's not like lewd and lascivious or murder or something really bad where you just go to prison right away. If you commit like burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, or I've even seen aggravated battery, no prison time, probation 3 years. No, probation 2 years. Probation 2 years for an aggravated battery. Like, I always thought, from the looks of it, aggravated battery is like such a big charge, and this guy didn't even get jail time. He got no jail time. He got probation. Yes, probation is a form of sentencing, but he should have went from prison for that, man. Like, wow, aggravated battery. Like, he aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I forgot to mention that part. So, since it was his first offense, you know, whoop, versus a new guy, so aggravated battery, first offense, okay. We got this guy right here. This guy's a little bit of a POS, so he got aggravated battery. He's also been charged with aggravated battery already. He's also been in prison before. He's also a convicted felon. He's also has done this felony crime, this felony crime, and this felony crime. Well, looks like now he has enough points to go to prison. Looks like he's going to go to prison for like 4 years, 3 years. That whole point system is weird. I read through it at one point, but I can't really remember all of it. But that whole point system is very weird. UCR is the stuff the Federal Bureau of Investigation puts together. That's the FBI. 1,800 agencies put their stats to the FBI, and that's how the FBI knows what crime gets committed the most, where what crime gets committed. On the bottom right, you'll see what states committed the most crime. In 2016, it looked like it was California. So that's with that information. That is what the UCR can help us with. But even though it does help us, it's very effective in deterring crime and, you know, getting crime details and like making strategies around the UCR. It's not 100% accurate. So, number one, white collar jobs aren't really on there, like defrauding a pawnbroker, worthless checks, anything that involves like dealing in stolen property, like white collar stuff. It's not on there. It takes like the felony stuff, or like there's even one part of the UCR which is like the minor crimes, like DUI, driving under the influence, no valid, DWLSR. But for some reason, I don't know why. I think I saw somewhere that it doesn't take like defrauding a pawnbroker, worthless checks. It doesn't take that stuff, which is weird. It takes the violent stuff and then the weird stuff that doesn't really matter. So with that, if I were to commit murder, right? So I committed murder, and then I also did burglary of an occupied structure, and I also did Grand Theft Auto. Those are 3 huge crimes. Murder is a big one, but burglary of an occupied structure and Grand Theft Auto, those are really big charges. But in the statistics, there's only one that's going to show, because that's the most important charge. It was one arrest. One arrest. So in that one arrest, I had 3 charges, and the most important charge, or the most severe charge, is murder. That murder is going to be like my statistic. So this person, murder in this area. Then next person, same thing. So that's why it's not 100% accurate. Some numbers aren't correct with the UCR. New school versus old school. So there is many specialized units now. Back then, law enforcement was influenced by politicians. So if a politician could fire and hire sheriffs or deputies when needed, and usually when they did that, they would force that politician's beliefs more than the actual law. So there was some leniency, you know. And for the new, like modern age, I put modern age for like now, you can't do that. No, if you want to change the law, it's a long step. You can't just become a president and change the law. You can't do that. And we also have specialized units. So now we got, you know, if you watch fugitive warrants on TV, that's a warrants unit. They're looking for people that have warrants. We got the sex offender unit. They're making sure that, you know, all the kids are safe, all the sex offenders are accounted for, all the sex offenders are registered and should be where they should be. We got youth relations. That's another one. Youth relations, the ones that deal with kids, to go, you know, to watch them at school. You do events. You make sure they're, you know, get a rapport with the kids. Community Relations Bureau, same thing. But instead of with kids in school, this is the whole community you serve. It's a lot of specialized departments. Back in the day, for Bonnie and Clyde, when I watched documentaries, I don't think I even saw any helicopter stuff. I don't think I did. But hey, if you get in a car chase now and you battery on LEO, like something major, like they did murder, you're getting the chopper after you 100%. You know, we got Marine unit, we got traffic unit with motorcycles, STEB unit. We got a lot of stuff that are specialized in certain things, which is a lot better for the criminal justice system. So the new school traditions are a lot better than the old school traditions. Progression to the system, crime is committed, arrest is made. Once the arrest is made, they can either bond out, stay in jail until the court date, go to the court date, that's the arraignment. They're at the arraignment, boom, this is like gets the ball rolling for court. If they want to plead guilty or not guilty, they will continue on to a preliminary hearing, which is like the probable cause stuff, I believe. And once they do that, plea bargain if they want to do a lesser or reduced sentence, and then they get sentenced and they go to jail. I'm sorry, I'm doing this really fast, but it's kind of frustrating that this stuff isn't saving like I want it to be. Courtroom procedures, I just mentioned it. I didn't know what to write down for both of these. Progressions through the system, which is getting arrested all the way through the court system, sentence, etc., versus courtroom procedures, which is just half of the other stuff, which is the arraignment, preliminary hearing, plea bargain, trial and sentencing, which I don't, unless I did it wrong, it's the same stuff. It doesn't matter. And this is how the Supreme Court is the highest court there is. More than likely, the small courts will follow the jurisdictions of the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court says this, the small courts will say that as well. If the small court says this and the Supreme Court wants to say that, well, I think the Supreme Court wins because it's the higher jurisdiction. It is the court of America. It is the highest court. And it influences society immensely. So that is it for my presentation. Hopefully I got all the points and I said them correctly. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Okay, how do I do this now? It's usually on the bottom right here. Huh, great. There it is.